Sussex is stuck in a nightmare that they'll never wake up from. Harry and Meghan's Hollywood dreams have officially crashed and burned, and now they're looking at a very miserable existence in LA. So, are they going to try to flee or are they going to stick it out?
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the King YouTube channel.
Well, folks, it has been 4 years now, basically to the day, since Harry and Meghan announced that they were planning to step back from their roles as working royals, and instead they wanted to be independent and live somewhere in North America. And boy, have things changed since then. I still remember when the news came out. I was shocked. I think most people were. We were wondering if there had been some falling out or what exactly had happened to lead Harry and Meghan to make this monumental decision. When Meghan and Harry first got to the US, they had stars in their eyes. They were convinced they were going to make it big. Meghan was convinced that she was finally going to be the Hollywood starlet she'd always wanted to be. And I guess Harry was just happy that he'd moved to a place where weed was legal so he could spend his days getting stoned and playing video games. And now in 2024, things are not looking so rosy for this couple. Their transition from life behind palace walls to Hollywood has not been smooth at all. In fact, it looks like they are now hopeless. In the beginning, it looked like Harry and Meghan were going to do okay. I mean, they landed those lucrative deals with Netflix and Spotify way back in 2020. We assumed they must have some really great ideas because they had gotten these jobs as content creators. I mean, surely they were going to produce some amazing content. That's what they said. They also claimed they were going to do a lot of charity work, that they really wanted to help people, that even though they weren't working royals anymore, they believed that service is universal. For the first couple of years, most people tried to give Harry and Meghan the benefit of the doubt. After all, the world was caught in this pandemic, so we could understand why they weren't churning out the shows and podcast series and books like they promised they would. But in 2023, things really changed. Because in 2023, it became clear that Harry and Meghan were trying their hardest. It was just that they didn't have anything to offer. So 2023 was when the tides really began to turn. That was when people stopped giving them the benefit of the doubt, and instead they became the butt of jokes. First, it was South Park with the Worldwide Privacy Tour featuring the Prince and Princess of Canada, or rather, the Prince of Canada and his Instagram-loving bitch-faced wife. And then Family Guy took a turn too, portraying Prince Harry and Meghan Markle lounging by a pool, while a butler comes and tells Harry that his millions of dollars are ready that he received from Netflix for doing absolutely nothing. And now the latest incident happened at the Golden Globes. Of course, it's 2024, but Joe Coy, the host of the Golden Globes, took aim at Harry and Meghan for, well, doing absolutely nothing and being a couple of grifters. It's not very difficult to understand what exactly changed. It was mostly Spare. I mean, Spare was such a ridiculous book that of course people were going to make fun of it. Harry thinking that it was going to be well received, complaining about stuff like that William got more sausages than him at breakfast and he got the bigger bedroom and a literal castle that they stayed in while on vacation. Of course that didn't sit well with the public. After all, people are facing real cost of living crises these days. People are worried about whether they're going to be able to afford food or pay their electric bill. This is not a time for the rich and entitled to be whining. But that's exactly what Spare was. And their docu-series Harry and Meghan really wasn't any better. I mean, the problem with Meghan and Harry, one of the biggest problems, is that they don't seem to understand how other people see them. They seem to believe that we view them the same way they view themselves, as these victims, as absolutely perfect angels who have never done anything wrong, but who are so beaten down by the royal family, and who just want to get a fair shake, but nobody will give them that. But that's not what the rest of us see. The rest of us see a couple of grifters, a couple of con artists, who believe they deserve everything they want, whether they work for it or not, who believe that everything should just be handed to them on a silver platter because of who they are. I still don't understand what Harry thought he was doing with Spare. I mean, including stuff like that story that he told about having a frostbitten penis and using his mother's hand cream on it. How disgusting, how creepy. And also including information about his older brother's penis. I mean, who told him that was appropriate? And then what about the completely delusional stuff, like Meghan Markle singing to the seals and the seals singing back to her? Obviously, that was written by her, but still, why did he think that it was okay to include that nonsense? I still remember before the docu-series came out, Harry and Meghan had all those trailers in which they were talking about how they just wanted to get their side of the story out. I remember Meghan said something like, "People keep talking about us, but nobody's asking us what happened. We want to be the ones to tell our story." Well, okay, fine. Nobody had a problem with that. The problem that people had with the docu-series is that Harry and Meghan didn't simply tell their story, they made up a bunch of lies. They willfully misled people to believe that things were happening that simply were not happening. For example, they were using footage from stuff like the Harry Potter premiere to make it seem like the press were just hounding them constantly when they were in the UK. It just simply wasn't true. And then Harry and Meghan, so delusional, believed that they should have been nominated for an Emmy, and then apparently they were also upset that Spare was snubbed for a Grammy for the best audiobook. I mean, what were they thinking? It is astounding to me that everybody else can see the hypocrisy, everybody else can see the lies, except for Harry and Meghan themselves. Basically, all of 2023 was a downward slope for Harry and Meghan. And to me, it all culminated when they were dumped by Spotify in what was it, June? And then they were later on called grifters by an executive at Spotify. Not a good sign at all. This is stuff that we've been hearing about Harry and Meghan for a while now, but it had just been rumors. And so for an executive at a company they had worked for to come out and call them effing grifters and also make fun of the ideas that Harry had for podcast series, it told us that all the rumors we had heard about them, that they were difficult, that they didn't want to work, that they were lazy, that they expected things to just be handed to them, it made us believe all those rumors were true. But Harry and Meghan simply couldn't take a hint. They kept on trying to make it work. They kept on trying to get their names in the headlines, trying to get attention for themselves. And then Meghan in November showed up on that red carpet and had to be pushed along because she refused to move on her own. And she talked about all these exciting projects they're working on. Well, what exactly are they talking about? I mean, we still don't know what exciting projects she was referring to because I'm pretty sure there are none. So maybe Meghan and Harry were hoping that 2024 would be their year of redemption, as one article claimed, but so far it's not looking like it. So far it's looking like it's going to be more of the same. I mean, just think about what happened at the 81st Golden Globe Awards in Hollywood on Sunday night. The industry's most important people were there, including the Netflix boss Ted Sarandos, Meghan and Harry's alleged friend Oprah Winfrey, and also, of course, Meghan's former co-stars on Suits, who didn't seem to have her number. And there wasn't just one joke that was made at Harry and Meghan's expense by Joe Coy, the host of the Golden Globes. There was more than one. Not only did he talk about the fact that they do absolutely nothing for Netflix, but he also had this to say about Imelda Staunton's performance as Queen Elizabeth II in The Crown. He said, quote, "Her portrayal of the Queen was so good, Prince Harry called her and asked her for money." And of course, the crowd roared with laughter because that is exactly what Meghan and Harry are so infamous for at this point in time, not doing a damn thing and then expecting to be paid millions for it. And then, when all else fails, turning to Harry's family for money as if they hadn't thrown them under the bus time and time again. It's this type of attitude that turns people off so much. It's this type of attitude that means Harry and Meghan are doomed to fail. And at this point, we are also seeing so many signs that Harry and Meghan are no longer a unit. They are no longer a team. Usually, when the media talks about them, it's not Harry and Meghan anymore. They're talking about Harry or they're talking about Meghan. And I see the attitude of the media towards Meghan and Harry is changing. They're painting Meghan as the villain and Harry as the little boy lost. Now, is this accurate? Who knows? But it's certainly what's going to be remembered. Personally, I do believe Meghan is the villain. I believe she's an absolute demon who took advantage of a dim-witted prince. So what is going to happen to Harry after he and Meghan finally split? He'll go back to his family. But what is going to happen to Meghan is the real question here, and that is something that she should be carefully considering. She may believe that she's going to find herself another rich husband, but that's not going to happen. She is way too old at this point. She's way too notorious. And it's not like she can make a career for herself. She's already known to be lazy and difficult to work with. And the crazy thing about Meghan is she's never even going to ask herself the question of was it all worth it. She's just going to focus on getting as much as she can in that divorce settlement and then going to find somebody else to con. And you, what do you think of Harry and Meghan's trajectory? Please let me know your opinion below in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, please don't hesitate to like and share it with anybody else who would appreciate it too. And don't be afraid to click the subscribe button to get more updates in the future. Thank you so much for tuning in, have a lovely weekend, and we'll be back to see you all tomorrow.